All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. My name is Bennett McDowell, traderscoach.com. Great to have you all here today on this February 7th, 2025. All right, so this purpose of Stock Analysis Friday is for me to look up any stocks or ETFs that may interest you. You may have gotten a call from your broker and he's suggesting something. So I can take a look at that from a technical standpoint for you and give you an analysis on that and see if that works out from a technical standpoint. Also, too, you may be long in something and you want to have an idea of, hey, it's just going to continue. Where should I think about getting out if it reverses? So I can look at certain levels from a technical standpoint and help you in that way as well. All right, so let me go through a few administrational musts that I have to go through here. First thing, of course, is to let everybody know there are risks in trading or even investing in the financial markets. That risk, without that risk, there is no reward, so to speak. So the two go really hand in hand. Sometimes you just got to take the risk, right? But you want to take it in an appropriate manner. You don't want to, of course, go in blindsided and not realize what the risk is or if there is any risk. And so always trade with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. That's one way to prevent trading with money that you, of course, need for living expenses and so forth. Always trade with risk capital. Next thing to do is always know your risk on each individual trade or investment. So if you're going to go into a trade and it doesn't work out, have a point where you need to get out before that risk gets too big. I got a couple books on how to do that, and I'll share those with you in just a moment. And then finally, realize if we come across a stock here that looks pretty good, run it by your financial advisor or whoever manages your money to be sure that particular trade or investment is suitable for you. I don't know your personal situation and they do. So please keep that in mind. Past performance doesn't guarantee future performance, and there are no guarantees when we go into the markets of profit. So please realize that. And that's pretty much it. So that those are the risks involved in trading the financial markets. I've got a few books on money management that I think would be really good if you need help in that area. They're in front of you right now. And also The Art of Trading is my brand new book, just out. And took me quite a while to write that one. That's 608 pages, so it's a big book. Replaces my other book, the first edition, that came out in 2008. So this is a second edition here. And that is available at Amazon. And I'll put links below for books and software that we recommend as well. We use the applied reality trading software, the ART software, along with several indicators for confirmation. We have scanners when we sort through all the stocks out there. And then we have risk control software as well. And I'll put the link for software down below. And then finally, before we get going here, give us a like, okay? That always apparently helps the channel. All right, so let me come out of here real quick. And I'm going to just give you a quick run through on the overall markets here. And I want to take a look at Bitcoin real quick as well. And then we'll go ahead and jump into any stocks you want to look at. So go ahead and type your stocks in caps and do that in the comments area in front of you, and do about 3 at a time. And let me know if you're long, short, or just thinking about taking a trade in the market you want me to look at. All right, so on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, kind of an interesting situation here. We had a pullback here, and then the market recovered and made a double top here. So there's your 1-2 double top. So we're kind of keep an eye on it. There's some support levels that we'll watch. Of course, this will be one of them now going forward, but there's others down here that we keep an eye on for the market to actually have to go below before we kind of get concerned on what's going on. I also notice here on the weekly chart, basically you're looking at 3 charts, all of the same symbol. I guess I should mention that first. This is a 60-minute chart, daily chart, and a weekly chart. So this is called multiple time frame analysis. And basically we read them as the 60-minute is the short-term look at the market. This is the intermediate on the daily, and then the long-term is on the weekly chart. So when you kind of, divvy it up that way, it gives you a nice view of the different time frames that the stock could perform. All right, so when we take a look at this, one of the things just for right now, just take a trend line and you can draw that on any of the indexes that you're interested in. And as you can see on the weekly chart, we are still technically in an uptrend, okay? Since we got that recovery on the daily chart, you could draw a trend line that would look very similar to that. And that would connect little different points than the weekly chart, but the idea would be the same. So let me grab a trend line on that and show you kind of what I mean with that. So there you go. There's a trend line on that one right there. So basically, we're in an uptrend. We have had pullbacks, but so far, nothing major enough to say that the stock market has changed direction. Now, do we think it's going to change direction? Well, you know, heck, it's due, right? And if you do Elliott wave analysis, we're sitting in a target zone right now for the end of the bull market. So we're kind of up there, but so far the market has remained strong enough not to break any key levels of support. Now, if this kind of analysis interests you, we have a whole service around this, a weekly service called the More Report, and we actually basically analyze and dissect different time frames on the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ as well. But I just want to share this really quick. Both the NASDAQ and the S&P indexes are similar. So for now, we continue to enjoy the ride up. All right, one more thing I want to look at before we jump into stocks here is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is on everybody's mind these days. Bitcoin is kind of at an interesting position right now. Just give that a second to load. But the coin here has reached a significant target zone, and it seems like it's kind of in that area now where it is kind of waiting to see how it breaks out of a range. So we've been in this upper range here for quite some time. Now, if you're an Elliott wave person, this is a fifth wave up here, a target for a fifth wave. So we did hit it. This was 3, this was 4, this is 5. And you know there are waves inside waves. So we are still in a wave 3 on the chart on the right, which is a weekly. There are 5 waves to complete a wave 3. So technically speaking, this is the fifth wave of the wave inside wave 3. So we may be getting ready for a more significant correction and a little bit longer term correction in Bitcoin. And then after that correction, we should get another wave count, a new wave count on the daily chart, and the beginning of a more significant pullback. After the pullback, a more significant move back to the upside. So what do you do with this? Well, I think if you're in it and you want to take profits now for the next, let's say, year or two, this wouldn't be a bad place to do it. All right. We could make one more high. All right. We're still haven't faltered enough to really indicate a major break yet. Again, if you draw a trend line, which is a great, simple tool, you got one here that you could draw right there. And then if you drew a shorter term one here, and I'll go ahead and magnify this in just a minute and open this up. So if you drew those type of trend lines like that, all right, you certainly could see here that we broke this one recently, and that was a fairly intermediate one. We had a super short term one here on Bitcoin earlier that got broken. Let me just anchor this better down in here. Okay, something like that. So you've got a couple of areas here. We're still in that thing where it could make one more high before it moves down, but it might not. We've had also now a bearish pyramid, all right, indicating a downtrend, and a red owl. So this would be a great place, I think, if you're not going to hold Bitcoin for long term, to start trickling out of it, if not get out of it, because again, we are at the top and we're in or near that 100, it got up to about 10,000, and now it's floating around 98,000. And our target was anywhere from 100 to 120 originally and now we refined it based on what it's actually done. It's around 108 to 85. So it's in that target zone. So I'll let you decide what you want to do but this is certainly signaling an area to get out. All right, so I'll leave it at that for right now. All right, now let's see what we got cooking here. If we got anything coming in yet. UNG, let's take a look at that. That is going to be the ETF for natural gas. We are bullish on this and have been, and we think we may have had a really good bottom put in down here. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at there. We had a bounce off that bottom. We've been waiting also for a long time. When I say long time, for probably 2 years for the owl to go green on the weekly chart. And we've done that. It was a great short trade for many, many years before, but that now has been taken out at a good profit. And now it looks like it's swinging back potentially to the upside. And I say potentially because there's no guarantees in anything, but this is surprisingly good. And again, we're looking at technicals. We're not looking at fundamentals because there's a whole reason why we may be seeing this from a fundamental standpoint, since we may be exporting natural gas a lot more now. And of course, that will increase the demand for it. So we'll see how that goes. But this looks pretty good. I recommend it now. Target on this is basically at this particular point the sky, okay? Because if this is a change in trend, we could go up quite a bit from here. If we wanted to be really super conservative, then maybe we're looking at 62 to 92 before we hit some resistance, and that's at 18. What's it, 1773? Okay, so this is could be a real big winner. And I don't think, adding this to your portfolio, this is an ETF and it represents natural gas. So this is one that you could hold even if equities sold off. So I kind of like that one quite a bit. So I'm going to put UNG, as Gene says, as one of the winners, okay, for today. I think that's really good. All right. All right. So if you have any stocks, type them in caps. I'm going to take a look at a couple more. I wanted to take a look at Tesla today as well. And let's see how Tesla's done. All right, so Tesla is pulling back. And we've been talking about the pullback for quite some time. And our target on this pullback is 356 to 273. So this little range in between these two blue lines would be an Elliott Wave 4 target for you Elliott Wave folks. If you're not an Elliott Wave person, this would be a buy zone, okay? And if you are an Elliott Wave person, it's a buy zone anyway. All right, so basically what you want to do here is look to accumulate Tesla at this point. Now, I think it hasn't quite reached that area yet. So I'd wait a little while longer, keep coming here every week. We'll take a look at it and I'll advise you of when to start accumulating that. We've got a red PTF on the 60-minute chart over here. So we're still coming down. And as you can see, we haven't hit the target yet. After that target's hit, then we expect prices to take out the old top during the wave 5. And we have a green PTF here as well as here. Confirming that process. So again, let's put Tesla on a watch list for right now. All right, and keep it there, and keep an eye on that each and every week. So I want to make sure I look at that for sure. All right, so I think we'll probably keep this fairly brief today. Let's see if there's any stocks coming in. If you have a stock you want me to personally look at, feel free to type that in. And we'll take a look at that. Those are the ones I wanted to cover that I think are super important for today, because I think there are opportunities coming up in those. If you're in Bitcoin, do remember that we are basically suggesting a sell on that, especially if you're holding that for kind of more of a short-term situation. If you're holding it for your kids and so forth, you can keep it. But I think probably we're getting pretty toppy on that. And there doesn't seem to be any more follow through at this point to the upside. The other thing interesting with the Bitcoin, especially, and this is affecting all cryptos, is that when the stock market goes up, the cryptos go up. When the stock markets come down, the cryptos have followed. So that's kind of been a little bit different than I expected a year or two ago. I expected the Bitcoin to be more of a place people would go, kind of like gold for safety. But gold is still the primary area where it seems people are putting their money in at this particular point. And you can see gold going up. And look what a great job those pyramids did catching all that run on the daily chart. So fantastic move on gold. And at this particular point, probably looks like a little bit more upside. But, you know, again, we're getting pretty, that's a micro, what they call a micro channel. It's been in for the entire year so far. And you can certainly see that. You know, on micro channels, what you can do is just take a trend line channel and draw it right on there. And you can see the power of that particular move up. You definitely don't want to short against that for sure, right? All right, so let's that's pretty much what I wanted to show you today. Let's go over and take a look at some of the day trading time frames here and take a look at some things here. And we had a nice move down this morning. This pyramid caught that on the NASDAQ pretty well here. And that could have certainly been a good, almost 150 points on the NASDAQ quickly in the morning. We had some resistance up here, and then it moved down as well. So kind of a nice morning for day trading in the NASDAQ. We're kind of in a channel right now, which usually happens after you have some type of big move like that, especially after the open. But again, look at the 5-minute chart on here. You can almost draw a pennant right here like this and like this. So watch for how that breaks out. Will be kind of interesting at this point. So kind of an interesting day in the markets overall. All right, so that's it for today. We'll see you back here next week. Let me just see if there's any last minute ones coming in. Oh, Jim, good. So UVIX is coming in. Let's take a look at that one. And UVIXX, I'm sorry, UVXY. Okay, so right away, what I look at is green pyramids across the board. Okay, so we've had this low here. I'm going to mark this with a straight line. All right, so that so far has held. And notice the market's come down twice on that and tried to go below it. And the bulls stepped in. So far that's holding here pretty well. We don't have a green here yet. So if if you're new here, I don't think I would go into this right now. Any long position here will be removed and put on the hold. And, if you went long here, you would have been stopped out. Okay. So it's a really too soon to go long on that at this point. So I would wait for it to clear here. I'd also wait for this to go green over here. So you can put this on a watch list. But for right now, I would hold back on that, doing anything on that. All right. Thanks, Jim. All right. Let's see what else we got here. All right. I think, boy, quiet group today. My gosh. All right. So I think that's it today. All right. So, Faye, how are you? Good to see you. And Brad, good to see you as well. How are you doing? And let's see. And I guess we'll end with Gene asking us to give us a like, okay? All right, so you guys have a great one. I'm off to day trading. Have a good one, and we'll see you back here next week. Thanks so much.